So we're going to walk you guys through the tools that we're going to need for this job. In this case, we're going to be using all hand tools, so that way someone at home can relate and be able to do these things on their own and perform this do-it-yourself without any issues. So the first thing that we have is just going to be a flathead screwdriver. Second one is going to be a 5mm hex socket. Third is going to be a spark plug socket specific to the N54 engine. Third one is going to be an 8mm socket. This is going to be a 12-inch extension in a 3/8 inch size. It's going to be a 3/8 inch ratchet. And this is going to be a 1/4 inch ratchet. And last but definitely not least is going to be a torque wrench, just so we can tighten these appropriately to their 17 foot-pounds torque specifications. So that's all we're going to need for the job. Alright, so first step, we're going to have to go ahead and remove these plastic covers. We're going to go ahead and pull this wire bundle forward. There's actually going to be 3 clips. 1, 2, and 3. Let's go ahead and pull these forward. The next area, we're going to have to release this wire bundle that falls along this cowl. And it's going to be locked in with this clip. 1, 2, and 3. I prefer to use a flathead screwdriver for this one, so we're going to go ahead and put this flathead right here, pull it forward, wedge it, and pop it, and then swing this clip down. In order to take this cover off, we're going to go ahead and have to release this electrical connector. The way to do that is to turn it 90 degrees towards the front of the car. Once we release it, we'll go ahead and slide it out towards this side, pull it up off this clip. There's going to be a clip over here in the front, which we're going to pull upwards. There's also a clip just like that in the back. So let's go ahead and release it. And then we're going to go ahead and unlock these rubber grommet or tabs that help guide the water into the drain over here on the corner. So let's release and pull that back. We'll pull this one back. And we do have this cover free and release. We'll do the same thing on this side over here. Next, we're going to need our 8mm socket, which I do already have on this ratchet right here. To loosen or take off this 8mm screw right here, there's actually going to be 1, and on this other side over here, there will be 2. Alright, so I always prefer to keep the screws or anything that we're going to be working on the vehicle in a magnetic tray. The next screws that we're going to take off are going to be for this cabin air filter. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the other side 6 right here. So we'll go ahead and take those off. Those are also going to be an 8mm socket. Alright, so next we'll go ahead and lift this cabin air filter now that all the 6 screws have been released and removed. And we are going to do the same thing with the plastic cowl cover. We'll go ahead and lift and carefully pull forward. And next we're going to go ahead and remove the engine or the engine beauty cover. And this is going to be with the 5mm hex socket. Just as a heads up, there's going to be 2 screws as you guys saw in the front. Some of the vehicles are also going to have a 3rd screw over here and also an area for a 4th screw down here. So now that we have the screws that we have in our way removed, we'll go ahead and lift this cover off. You just have to carefully rock and lift up and rock it towards the front of the car. Next, this actually gives us clear sight to the area where all the coil packs and of course the spark plugs are hiding right below the coil packs. Of course, in order to gain access to the spark plugs, we're going to have to remove the coil packs. There's a quick release clip on each one of these coil packs, we're actually going to want to lift where I have my two fingers, 1 and 2, and pop this upwards. So you guys will see that. As we pull this all the way up, you guys will see the electrical connector slide back out of the socket. Once it slides back, we'll go ahead and pull this one off because it's completely loose. We'll do that to all 6 of them. Now that we have the electrical connectors off, the coil packs are actually ready to be removed. I prefer taking this extension, putting it in between here. Be careful to give it good leverage on both sides, and go ahead and just slowly pull up. So you guys heard it kind of pop. It's always going to make a nice little pop noise generally because they are engaged pretty tight on the spark plug. We'll go ahead and repeat that on all 6 cylinders so we can remove the coil packs. Another thing is I always prefer to lay the coil packs in the same order that we remove them off the vehicle. That way we can ensure that everything goes back together exactly as it came apart. In this case, I'll go ahead and lay the coil packs on our bench over here with cylinder 1 towards the front of the car, and we'll go ahead and do the same with cylinder 2 all the way up through 6. Alright, so now that we have the coil packs removed, underneath in each one of these wells is going to be the spark plugs. In order to remove them, we're going to need that 12-inch, 3/8 inch extension, the specific spark plug socket or the special socket, along with a 3/8 ratchet. And we'll go ahead and crack each one of these. As we crack them, we're going to go ahead and loosen them all the way. Okay, so we got cylinder 1 fully removed. We're going to go ahead and pull out the socket carefully so we don't damage or cause anything to affect the spark plug on removal. The socket actually has a magnet right above where the ratchet extension enters. And what this allows is when we're loosening it and it's completely loose, it'll allow the spark plug to actually catch and hold inside there without actually falling out. We're going to go ahead and place each one of these spark plugs adjacent to the coil packs that we've removed. And I'm going to go ahead and rinse and repeat that for cylinders 2 through cylinder 6. Eric, luckily, when you do this at the shop, you can use power tools. Alright, now that we have all 6 spark plugs out, as mentioned, we laid them next to each of the corresponding coil packs. We're going to go ahead and pull all the new spark plugs that we're putting in this vehicle out. And what I like to do is lay them out, pull all the cardboard off of them, and visually inspect the electrodes to make sure that none of them have been damaged during shipping potentially. And everything does look good. So what I'll do next is I'm going to actually remove the extension with the socket. Since they're magnetic, I'm going to hold the rest carefully in my hand. In your case, it might be better just to lay this on a magnetic tray or somewhere careful where you won't be damaging or worrying about these electrodes. But be careful, I've done this a couple times in my life. So I'll go ahead and hold this, always by hand. I'm going to insert into the spark plug well, make sure it engages carefully, and tighten it by hand. If I've gotten the threads, when I go ahead and pull out right now, the spark plug will stay in there. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing for all 6. If you feel any sort of resistance, make sure you back off immediately. Just a quick heads up, cylinder 5 does have this bar or support bar in the way, so just be careful because if you're not using the right tools or you're not careful, you can. And unfortunately, we do see a lot of clients who try to do this job themselves and they cross thread cylinder 5 very often because it's just they're not using the right tools or they're not being careful or maybe not threading it in by hand like you see us doing right now. We'll go ahead and put the last cylinder 6 in carefully. Once 6 is threaded in, I'll go ahead and leave it there so that way I can go ahead and tighten everything by hand with the ratchet. So go ahead and grab the ratchet. We had it on loosen or removal or taken off. We're gonna go ahead and put it on since we're gonna go ahead and tighten these plugs now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten these to essentially a 2-finger or a hand tight. That way we can go do the final tighten with the actual calibrated torque wrench. So we're not chancing anything, nor having anything that's potentially stripped or running into any problems later after doing this job. Once we've hand tightened all 6 of them, we're going to go ahead and have to use the torque wrench as mentioned before. You guys will see me set this one up. In this case, this is actually going to be a digital torque wrench. So you guys will see me set it to 17 foot-pounds. Some of you guys may be using a click style, and that's no problem. Just go ahead and set that torque wrench appropriately to 17 foot-pounds, which will be the factory spec. So we'll go ahead and tighten all 6 spark plugs. And there we go, we have them installed. The only thing we have to do now is essentially reverse the order of everything we did for removal. For the video's intensive purposes, we'll go ahead and put the coil packs in just to show you how to get them in correctly. But for the rest of the cowls, the plastics, the covers, the cabin air filter, the engine cover, we'll leave that on you because the same way that we remove this stuff is the same way that you're gonna go ahead and put them back on. So I have these in the exact same order I removed them. This is cylinder 1. As you guys can see, there's going to be on the N54 valve cover a couple notches or plastic pieces, 1 and right here 2. So we're going to want to actually get this sleeve right here to sit exactly in between them for it to be sitting in the correct position. So we're going to go ahead and install and push all 6 coil packs in the correct position, and then we'll go ahead and put the electrical connectors on them to ensure that they have a good seal and connection. So as you guys can see, it's between there and that second point right there. We're gonna go ahead and push down once we've reached that point, and that one's good to go, minus having the electric connector put in. So let's go ahead and do that for all 6. Now we'll go ahead and put the electrical connector on. Similar to how we got it off, it's going to go in a couple stages. So if we line it up on the connector and lightly just thread it in or push it in, you guys will actually see this connector piece start going down at about a 45-degree or halfway angle. Once it's there, we know we're in the right area. You can actually just push the clip, and as you're pushing the clip down, you should see the connector lock in towards the rear of the car. So I'll go ahead and loosen this. We'll do it one more time. I'll push this in. The clip came down, which is good. Now we'll go ahead and push the clip down with 2 fingers, and as we do that, you guys will see the electrical connector slide in. So hopefully that's easy to see on camera. If it slid in, there should be no gap in this area right here. So that one is good. We'll do it a couple more times, and hopefully it's a little easier to see, or it makes sense once you guys actually get down to doing it. So as I push that one on, it went down 45 degrees, and that's perfect. So as we push, we'll see and make sure it slides and pulls in. Perfect. Once we've done that, we've successfully installed our spark plugs. In this case, that was the OEM Bosch spark plugs that we put into this N54. And we would just reassemble, as mentioned, all the plastic covers, including the engine cover, the cowl cover, the side covers, as well as the cabin air filter, and then the car would be ready to fire up. If you really wanted to, you're able to actually fire up the car right here before you move on and go ahead and put all those beauty covers on, just to ensure everything's good to go before you reach that, unfortunately, and find out an issue. Alright, so hopefully that gives you guys a great idea on how to install OEM spark plugs on your N54 engine. Hopefully that helps you guys out.